Hi guys, so sorry I've not vlogged at all this week. It's naturally because it's been Christmas week. There's been a lot on, naturally, Christmas, Boxing Day, just a whole week of being stuck in limbo where every day is a Sunday and you've got no idea what's going on or who you are or what day it is. So yeah, that's what this week has felt like. And also, yeah, I've had no time to myself. So, and when I vlog, I like to have time to myself so I can actually at least try and think about what I'm going to say. So yeah, that's why this is a bit delayed and very, very short video, most likely. So on Thursday, it was 4 weeks to the day that I actually had the operation, which is just crazy to me. I can't believe it's been 4 weeks. When I think back to the first week, and how painfully slow that first week went, and how I was just feeling like it was gonna last forever and I would just not feel normal ever again. It was, yeah, it's crazy to think that was, yeah, over 3 weeks ago in terms of how I felt and how I was like counting down the minutes to have my drains taken out. And yeah, since then it's absolutely flown by. And especially it feels like the days are getting sort of shorter in that sense, in terms of I have to sort of stop and sort of take a step back to realise just how much I'm getting back to normal. There's still a lot of things that aren't normal in terms of I'm still wearing my binder. I'm still having to put obviously scar cream on my scars. I can't drive. I can't pick up anything too heavy, so I haven't been able to hoover and different things like that. And I'm still having to really sort of concentrate on how much water, like what my water intake is, because if I don't concentrate on my water intake and I let myself get too dehydrated, then my body likes to tell me about it, in terms of, because where I'm wearing the binder, it gets incredibly tight, and also like I start to like feel it around my scar, obviously where the skin is like stretching a bit. Yeah, that's quite a big thing in terms of, yeah, it's just how noticeable it is. I've been also like not like really strictly watching what I eat. Obviously I've been eating as much as sort of I can on the sort of, because it's the holidays, so it's more just like I'm not going overboard, like I'm not like force feeding myself. I'm eating what I can, but I definitely feel like my stomach is a lot more restricted these days. So like the sort of the piles of food that I was able to eat before, I'm not able to eat now, which is probably a good thing, because I do think my appetite was quite out of control before. So yeah, that's still like a noticeable thing. I've still not got a lot of feeling back on my stomach, so it still feels quite weird. Obviously the scab has come off on my belly button, so I now see my new belly button, which is crazy. But every time I look in the mirror and see my scar, I'm just sort of so happy with it, just how quickly it's healing and how nice it looks already. So yeah, I'm just really excited for the future when I don't have to wear this bloody binder anymore, because that has been the absolute bane of my life. Like the more normal I feel, the more I hate this binder, because it just feels like it's just so restricting, and I just get like this really bad like sensory overload, because obviously where I can't do it up all the way under my boobs, so obviously I have to have the top 3 hooks undone. The back tends to roll down, but what it does, it like I try and pull it up as much as possible, but then it just rolls down into sort of like my back fat and then just presses into it, and I can just feel it, and it's always there. And it just, you know, when you feel something, I don't know if this is just me and like my sort of undiagnosed ADHD, but when you can just feel something and it just really annoys you, like when your socks aren't on properly or they're slipping down the back of your heel, and it's like I just need to get on like and just act normal, but deep down I can feel the sock slipping down my heel. It's like that with this binder. It's like I know I can't do anything about it, I know I just have to get on with my day, but I can just feel this binder rolling down my back fat, and it's really pissing me off. So that alone makes me like so excited to get rid of this freaking binder. Also, I think the big thing this week, because it's really weird at the moment, I'm waking up every morning and all I want to do is stretch, and I can feel like my stomach muscles really just want to stretch. I just want to have a really good stretch, but I can't. I know I can't, like, because I'm still a bit scared to do it. So I stretch it as much as possible. Like I think I stretch each side as I'm waking up in the morning. Also, I can laugh without it hurting. I can cough without it hurting. It still feels weird, like if I cough too hard it will hurt, so I'm still sort of tentatively coughing. Also, the one thing that does kind of hurt still is sneezing, and I think like because the antibiotics are kind of leaving my system now, I'm starting to get like a few sneezes and like a more of a dry throat every so often now. So yes, I'm noticing that much more. I mean, I count myself so lucky that it's only just happening now rather than like in the first week. I think I would have died if it had happened in my first week. I would have been beside myself if I'd had a coughing fit in my first week, because I was absolutely terrified of coughing. But yeah, it's not so bad anymore. Like the fact that sometimes I even forget, so I'll just cough and I'll be like, oh yeah, I've like I have to be careful with my tummy. But yeah, so other than that, like I said, it's got to that point now where it just feels so normal, like I've got back to normal, that like things that will happen that will remind me of what I've been through and what I'm still recovering from. So like how Bub said to me today, like, oh mummy, are you never going to drive again? Because obviously my husband's been driving us around and stuff. And I was like, no, hopefully in the next 2 weeks I'll get signed off by the surgeon, and the surgeon will say it's okay for me to drive. So it's like little things like that. Like I don't think I'd be too bad with driving, but I don't think I've got the confidence yet to get like behind the wheel to drive. So I'm counting on the next 2 weeks to, like, considering how normal I feel now at the 4-week mark, I'm just thinking those 2 weeks I think I'll see a massive improvement as well. But yeah, the biggest thing for me this week has literally been I wake up pretty much every morning at probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I am in crippling pain with my back, like the small of my back, because I'm still laying on my back. I can't lay on my sides. I've got, my legs are elevated and I've got my wedge pillow under like my regular pillows that I have in bed. Because when I tried to sleep with like my regular pillows before, that's when I end up with crippling back pain sort of all over my back. But that's the thing, I don't tend to get a dodgy neck now. It's literally all in the small of my back. So I don't know if that's my body telling me that I can move in bed now. So this morning I did a bit of an experiment, because I'm got to a point I am so sick and tired of being so tired. Like I'm like constantly during the day now, I feel like I am just so zoned out because I'm not sleeping properly. So this morning, when my husband got up with Bubs, I was just so exhausted, and I was like, I'm gonna just lay here, take the pillows away that are under my feet, take the wedge pillow out from underneath my pillow, and just see what position I can sleep in that's actually comfortable. And the one position I could find that I could sleep in is actually on my left side, like facing like to the outside of the bed, because I sleep on the right side of the bed. So no, left side. When you're laying in bed, I'm on the left side. And so yeah, I can lay on my left side, which is what I always did when I was pregnant anyway. And most of the time when, like, during the last 5 years, I've been sleeping on that left side. But I like to be able to turn over onto the right side because it hurts my back after a period of time. But currently trying to lay on my right side, it's still quite bruised and sensitive on that side. So it's the only problem I've got at the moment, that if I try and sleep on my side, I don't think I could chop and change. So I'm probably going to be in the same sort of situation that I am when I'm laying on my back, in terms of I can lay on my back for a certain amount of time and then I get really uncomfortable and I get really bad back pain. So then I'm going to sleep on my left side and I'll probably be fine. And then I'll wake up again just being like having really bad back pain. I've seen a lot of people talk about it on like a lot of the tummy tuck groups that I'm on Facebook, and people like talking about getting signed off to be able to lay on your side. And I'm kind of like, I don't understand why you would need to get signed off for it. I don't see how it would be like a dangerous thing. I think it's more like early on in your recovery, because I'm almost sort of standing upright. Like I don't see it as like I'm not feeling any tightness when I stretch up. I think it's more I'm used to, I think the binder doesn't help. I think the binder kind of keeps me in a slouched position. But when I stand up straight, I don't really feel any stretching on my stomach anymore. So when I lay down and like I'll sort of put my legs straight and my back straight and everything, and I don't feel any pulling. So I do feel like that is normally the reason why they say you should always sleep on your back with your legs elevated, to keep everything sort of scrunched up still. But once that you've got past that stage, you can lay on your side, or if you are going to lay on your side, you sleep in the fetal position with like a cushion between your legs. But yeah, I did like I said this morning, I had one leg straight and one leg bent, and that felt fine. I could still feel it on my scar, but it weren't too bad. I think the main issue for me is just here on this side, because of this friggin' binder. it digs into my waist, so it's like it's all I can feel, just like pushing into my sides. So that's I think gonna be the thing over the next 2 weeks. I'm just gonna be like, oh, I can't wait to get rid of this freaking thing. But the one thing that I'm sort of dreading is, because I've seen a lot of people say it again on these groups where they get to the 6 week mark, and that's like the point when you can stop wearing it 24/7, but you need to wear it when you go to bed and when you do exercise. Doing exercise with it on, that's not going to bother me. If anything, I'll probably prefer it, because it will be that extra support that I'll feel that my stomach will probably need when I'm doing all that sort of stuff. It's the sleeping that I don't feel like I can sleep properly anymore in this binder, because it just pisses me off so much. It's so restrictive. And like I said, with it rolling down all the time, and it's not comfortable at all. So yeah, it gets to a point now where it's almost become like a second skin a lot of the time. Like I can forget about it and just get on with my day. But every so often, like now I'm talking about it, I can feel it's really starting to piss me off, because where it's rolled down. But yeah, that's like all the update I've got for this week in terms of just everything. Feels like I think the superficial stuff has all healed up. Like every time my husband puts the cream on my scar, another scab comes off. So it's just showing that this, like, everything's closed up now, everything's healed. It's still like really dry around the scar, because obviously I just think that's obviously, I don't know if that's the body's thing of just like where it just heals up, where like it's just very dry skin around the scar. But every day I look at it, it feels like it's getting flatter and fainter. The only place I can feel and see where it's still a bit lumpy again is on this side. It seems like this side on my right side is a side that's taken longer to heal. And my husband said it the other day, because sometimes when he puts the cream on, because he has to dab it on, like he can't, the oil he can rub in, but the gel he has to put on, he has to dab. But when he does either the rubbing of the oil on it or the dabbing, it feels quite tender, almost bruised. And he thinks what it is there's still a lot of fluid there. So it might be just that. It's probably where it feels a bit sort of stretched almost. And it does feel like there's a bit of, like when I am swollen, like along here, you can't see, I'm pointing, but on the left side of my body, it feels like everything's quite flat, like everything's even. So you can see like from the bottom of the scar and the top of the scar like that. But when on my right side, it feels like I have a little bit of an overhang of the scar, but that only tends to happen like as the day progresses. So I'm getting like more and more swollen, and it's sticking out more and more, so you can't actually see the scar on that side, because it's sort of, it's not like I have an overhang, not like a sort of apron like I did before, but yeah, it's just like the scar is just like a little bit tucked underneath. So I'm wondering if, yeah, I just get a lot of fluid swelling along there. But when I press on my stomach, like around sort of on my hips and my waist, it's very squishy again. It feels normal, but on my stomach, it still feels very tight. Like I can just push it like I can on my hand, but then that's how it feels like, because I have no fat on my hand. So it's like, that's all I can do. I can press it and that's it. And that's like across just above my belly button and just around my belly button, all around there. But I have no feeling there still either. So yeah, that's that. Trying to think what else. Oh, obviously there's my weigh-in, which I did. I was like, you know what? I've not weighed myself. I think it was just after I had the drains out. I don't think I weighed myself before I had the drains out. I'm pretty sure it was just after I had the drains out. Either way, since then I have lost 8 pounds. As you would have seen from the video, the scales were like, are you sure this is you? Can you just check and make sure that you are weighing yourself and not someone else? Because this is a big change since you last weighed yourself. So yeah, that was fun. That was a nice thing to have, because I was kind of like, it's weird at the moment. I'm really not fussed about what the scales say, because I'm loving so much how I look. And I know at the moment it's Christmas, so there's not healthy food and healthy eating going on in this house at the moment. There's a lot of chocolate, a lot of sweets, a lot of cake, a lot of delicious food, and no exercise going on. So like all I'm doing is potting around the house or going to the shops or whatever. So yeah, there's no real exercise going on. So the fact that I was then able to weigh myself and I was that 8 pound down, it just made me feel even better about the fact that if that's how I am doing at Christmas with like I said, Christmas eating and no exercise. Imagine what it's going to be like when I actually start exercising. So I'm hoping that that's the case, that and if I keep up with my water intake and stuff, that I'll actually be able to lose any excess weight that I'm putting on over Christmas. Like I don't feel like I've got loads on my face, but then again, it could just be because I'm not eating as much. Like I'm not going overboard. I'm treating myself, but I'm not having like massive treats. Like I'm not scoffing my face with like a whole, like normally I think I remember last year having 2 mince pies and just like half a tub of cream on them and stuff like that. I'm not doing that this year. Because I just don't feel like it. I'm not that hungry. So I definitely think it's made a huge difference in terms of just restricting my stomach. The only thing that I feel like that's doing, we went to stay with my husband's brother and sister-in-law the other day, and we went out for breakfast and I couldn't finish my coffee because I had a really, really bad stomach cramps, and I had instant flashbacks to when I first met my husband, and I used to suffer really badly with my IBS, and it would be as soon as I ate dairy or anything that didn't agree with me, like anything that's really oily, I would just get these stabbing pains in my stomach and I'd need to go to the toilet straight away. And when you're out, when you're not at home, it's bad enough when you're at home having these stabbing pains and having to rush to the toilet, but when you're outside it's even worse, like when you're like having to think you have to go in like a public restroom or whatever. So yeah, I like had immediate flashbacks to that, and I was, oh my god, like my IBS has come back. And I do think it's the fact that my stomach is so restricted now, and it hasn't been that way for, like I said, over 6 years. So, and I do have a feeling as well, I don't know what could have happened, but I do have a feeling, because I've always had that bit of a pooch at the front of my stomach. I've never had a defined stomach. So I do wonder if I actually did have a slight diastasis recti issue before I even got pregnant, because I did start having like back pain before my son was even, like I was even pregnant with him. But my back pain started during the pregnancy, like really, really bad back pain, to the point I had to lean back on the sofa. And I think that's what then caused my issues going forward, in terms of, because I was sat in a bad position, it meant that he was back to back. So when he was born, that's when we had the issues with him being born, because he was back to back. And yeah, and I think that's just, yeah, it's just it exacerbated all the problems going forward with him being like such a struggle to give birth to. So yeah, it's made me think in terms of, because I did have like problems with my weight and with my hunger before my son, like before I was even pregnant with my son, and my IBS like had disappeared, I think before I even got married. So like I used to like suffer with it so bad when I was all throughout uni and all through my first few years of my job that I was working in London. I mean, it could just be that I just didn't find myself stressed as much as I did, but I do think that it was, yeah, so having that pain just really brought it all back for me, and I was like, I've not had that for at least 5 or 6 years. So it was, yeah, it was very, very weird. So I do wonder if that's what's happened, in terms of, because my stomach wasn't so restricted, that I didn't have the cramps as much. Because I know that's a thing I don't like. I've never liked wearing tight clothes on my stomach, especially if I'm eating a lot of food, because it makes me feel so uncomfortable, and it always used to trigger my worry about then having the stomach pains with my IBS. So I feel like I'm just rambling now, but yes. So that's one thing that I'm thinking, that maybe my IBS will be back. So it's made me very vigilant in terms of what I'm eating. So it's probably a good thing going forward, because it means I'm now going to be more conscious of what I'm eating. I'm not just gonna just say yes to everything, and I will sort of watch my dairy intake, because I think that was the problem. I had a lot of dairy over the last couple of days staying with my husband's family, so I don't think that helped. And like I said, I got halfway through my coffee and I just felt like, oh no, I need to go to the toilet. And I had like a ham and cheese croissant for lunch, or for brunch. So yeah, I don't think that helped. But yeah, over the last few days, I've not had that at all. It was literally on that day that I felt that sort of sickiness. But even then, that doesn't bother me, like I said, because as long as I watch what I eat, it's not going to be too much of an issue. I'm not going to let it control my life like I did when I was working, when I was at university. I just got really anxious about my stomach then and worried where like the nearest toilet was and stuff. But yeah, the fact that that was the only one time, I think it was, yeah, just my stomach getting used to like having all the Christmas food that I'd eaten, and then having like a lot of dairy on top of that. Because obviously at home we have oat milk because my husband's vegan, and I prefer oat milk in my tea and coffee anyway, because I find regular milk now too sweet. But yeah, so I think going back to my weights, because I feel like I said, I'm just going on like really random tangents now. Apologies, because I'm just trying to trying to fill a week's worth of stuff in. So yeah, going back to the weights, or like my weight change, I do wonder if that's obviously, I think because it's been at least 2 weeks, I think, since I weighed myself, maybe 3 weeks. It's got to have been at least 3 weeks because I had my drains out 3 weeks ago. So that's all the fluid that I've helped to get rid of by keeping up with my water intake. And also, I'm assuming in that as well, I can add into that the 4 pounds that I lost through how much of my stomach was cut away, or like my belly was cut away. Because that's the thing, because she never told me how much was taken away with lipo. I just know it was 2.5 kilograms of flesh was cut when what she took away. So I know that was how much definitely was taken. So that's what I'm kind of seeing that as, because I think when I first weighed myself, like my first weigh-in after the operation, I was obviously still swollen, still carrying a lot of fluid. Also, when I weighed myself, I was in my binder. I was still like clothed. So, and I probably may have been constipated as well, because that was a thing for the first few days. Well, it was more like the first 2 weeks, I'd be like the first couple of days I was constipated. Then going forward, it was like every 2 or 3 days I would have trouble going to the toilet. So I think when I did weigh myself, it was like I hadn't been for like the last 24 hours or something. So yeah, there was a lot of factors in the previous weigh-in that won't have counted in this weigh-in. So it was a much better one. Like I said, I weighed myself just before I jumped in the shower. I'd just been to the toilet. I've been really good in terms of taking in all my water. But then the day before that, because I did actually weigh myself. Where did I weigh myself? I'd weighed myself when we'd come back from my husband's brother's. So we'd had like, they'd done us, we had like Christmas dinner part 2 with them. So we'd had like the roast potatoes, the meat, the puddings and everything like that. And then we'd had, like I said, the brunch out with them. Then when we got home, I'm trying to think what we had when we got home for dinner. Oh yeah, had turkey and bubble and squeak. So I made bubble and squeak. So we had that. We had cookie pie for dessert and stuff. So like I said, we weren't exactly watching what we were eating. And then yeah, the next day is when I weighed myself, and yeah, and it was like I'd lost that whole 8 pounds. When you think of what I was like before, where I was so vigilant and just constantly looking at what I was eating, and then I'd weigh myself at the end of the week and be really deflated and pissed off for the fact that I'd lost like half a pound or something, or gained 0.2 of a pound from the week before. But like I said, it's nice to weigh myself and see that figure, but it's also, like I said, at the moment, I'm just not concentrating on the numbers. I think it's more just to see where I am, and if like I'm actually getting somewhere with it. Like I said, because I've always liked the idea of not concentrating on the numbers. It's more how you feel and how you look. And at the moment, I feel great in terms of, obviously, other than the binder being annoying and sort of like my muscles still being a little bit tight. But other than that, I feel great. And I feel like I look great as well, in terms of like, I have to stop every time and just look in the mirror, because I still can't believe I got a flat stomach. I've never had a flat stomach. I don't ever remember having a flat stomach before. I think I may have had it when I was a teenager, but at that time I think I must have had like really bad body dysmorphia, and I just thought I was fat. But then that was because all my friends always called me fat. So so it's, yeah, I've never, in the years that I've been sort of like in adult life, I don't think I've ever had a flat stomach. So every time I look at it, I'm like, I still can't believe this is me. It's just so different. So yeah, I am so happy with how I look, that the numbers just don't mean anything to me. It's more, I think, just keeping an eye on things. So then when I do get back to exercise, I can actually then measure the progress. Because what I was thinking of doing is, because I watch, I don't know if anyone else watches her name is, I think it's Beatrice Caruso, I don't know how to say her surname. She's amazing. If you don't watch her, you should, because she is absolutely fantastic. I love her to pieces. I've been watching her for years, and her struggle with her weight loss, and like she's been like up and down in terms of like with her mental health as well. So there'd be times when she won't concentrate on her mental health, she'll just concentrate on, or she won't concentrate on her weight loss, she'll concentrate on her mental health and like different things like that. So it's always like, it's so nice to watch her and like see someone in a similar sort of situation to me with like their mental, like struggles with their mental health and with their weight loss and stuff. But she's come up with a new thing that she wants to do for 2024. And what she's basically done is she's taken measurements, but measurements in terms of how her exercise and stamina is at the moment. So I think she did how many push-ups she can do in a minute, how long it takes for her to do a particular lap. I don't know how long the lap was. I don't know if it was, I think she said it was like 1.5 miles. So she timed herself for that, like what her weights, like how many weights she could do, like all these different like sort of exercises she could do. And then over time, during like in the months to come, she's going to measure and see, like watch her progress. And to me, that is a more healthier way to sort of measure your progress, rather than looking at yourself, weighing yourself, and just sort of, because everybody is different. Every physical body is different. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if I eat the same thing as someone and drink the same things as someone and do the same exercise as someone else, that we're all going to look and feel the same and lose the same amount of weight. Everybody is different. So for me, I think it's all about your like finding something that you could, where you can measure your progress and actually notice the difference that you're making by doing these little differences and doing these little changes. So for me, obviously, I think the running thing would be good, but because obviously I'm not going to hit the ground running, literally, when I get the sign off to do exercise. I will be doing couch to 5K, just to slowly get back into running. I'm also going to try and get like half an hour, like between 30 minutes and an hour every other day. So when I'm either running or doing like weight training at home. So I'm going to start weight training at home. So doing like push-ups and planks as well, because that was another thing. I think what was her progress, how long could she hold a plank for, and like different things like that. So I think those are sort of things I will be doing. So that would be good, I think, for me to. So I just need to. That's my current thing. I'm waiting. I'm going to use the next few weeks to figure out which ones I want to start with. And as soon as I get that sign off that I can actually start exercising, I'm going to time myself or measure myself and be like, right, now I'm starting exercise. This is what I am at like the very, very start. So I'm going to be at my very worst, because obviously I haven't exercised in over 6 weeks and also had major surgery. So I haven't done anything for these 6 weeks. And then I'm going to measure going forward, and maybe like each month, maybe I'll do it. So I think it'll probably be like, yeah, mid-January that I'll get the sign off. So then mid-February, mid-March, I'll take all these measurements and stuff and see how I do. So yeah, that's the plan. So too long, didn't listen. The bullet points of this video, like I said, I've been talking for the last half an hour. So main bullet points. I'm very happy with how I'm healing. Like my scar is healing really well. I can now see my beautiful little belly button that I have, so that's great. My muscles are still tight, so I constantly get reminded every so often that I'm still not fully back to normal, so I'm just taking it easy. Still concentrating on water intake because I still get the swelling. I hate this binder and I really can't wait to get rid of it. Really looking forward to getting back into exercise. And the biggest complaint I have at the moment is just waking up with crippling back pain. So trying to currently figure out what I'm going to do with that. So hopefully next week on the next video, I will have figured out what I'm actually doing with my sleep. Like I said, where I tried all different things this morning, like different positions. Hopefully I would have figured something out by next week, so then I can tell you guys where I've got to with that. But yeah, so I feel like I've really rambled and this is a really random video. So I heavily, sincerely apologize for the state of this video. But it has been very hard to try and get time to myself. Hopefully next week we'll be back into a routine with things, and I might hopefully be able to talk a bit more. It'll be more when I'm back to running though that I'll actually probably be able to do like updates and stuff, because I obviously will be out in the car and stuff. So we'll see. But anyway, yes, really do hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, sorry it's just a bit random, rambling at the moment. So if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. You can also follow me on social media. All the links will be down below. And on that note, I'll say love you guys, and I shall see you on the next video. Bye.